Whether you're a new agent or whether you're a seasoned agent, today's topic is very important and vital to growing your business. And it should be the lifeblood of your business, but unfortunately, a lot of people avoid it because they think it's scary. And that is prospecting. Yes, I know it's scary, it's intimidating, but it truly is the soul of your business and what brings in the leads that you convert to business later on. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dylan Hernandez, Marine Corps veteran turned real estate professional, and I'm here to help you navigate the real estate industry. All right, first things first, let's define prospecting, because at the end of the day, what is prospecting? Prospecting is just the act of identifying and reaching out to potential clients and establishing a relationship so that way you open yourself up to opportunities to help them later down the line. Now that can be buyers, sellers, investors, really whatever avatar that you prefer to work with, so that way your pipeline or your business is filled with potential leads in the future that you can continue to provide value to and ultimately convert into business at a later date. Now, why is it scary? Why do so many agents avoid this? And ultimately, my opinion is because they are scared about the potential outcomes, or they have the reluctancy to either one, get told no, or two, just scared of what people are going to think of them. So here are two pieces of advice to get over that. Number one, if you're calling or door knocking or however you're establishing contact with that potential lead, with the intention to provide value and help them, then ultimately you should never be concerned about what they'll think about you or annoying them. And if you do, that's okay. You have to be detached from the outcome. And if you're not detached from the outcome, it will get overwhelming quick. You'll quickly find something else to do. But that's not what we're here in this industry for, right? Number two is going to be stop waiting for perfect conditions in order to do what is necessary to do the action. Because if you wait for perfect conditions, that assumes that if later down the line things get hard, you're going to stop doing the action anyways. So why start in the first place? So stop overanalyzing and start doing the work, and you will get better over time. Now, why is prospecting important? Like I've already said before, this should be the lifeblood of your business. So by prospecting, you are creating more relationships and you are meeting more people and getting in front of others. So that way more people know who you are. Because ultimately, to have a successful business, they have to know about the business. So that requires you to reach out, door knock, and that requires you to get in front of as many people as possible. We're gonna go over a few ways that you can do that here in a little bit. Stay tuned for the end. All right, so here are 6 options that you can use to successfully prospect and identify future leads. Number one is cold calling. Now, this is something that a lot of agents are reluctant to do, but in reality, it's one of the few prospecting tools that you can utilize that you can have conversations with the most amount of people in the least amount of time without having to move. Because ultimately, a lot of the other ways of prospecting require you to meet people in person, go to their house, be out in the sun, whatever the case is, and it can be very time taxing and taxing on the body depending on the environment. I don't know about you, but here with this Texas heat, I am not a fan of being outside, but I'll do it to properly prospect. So cold calling, what is it? It's just making a connection with what's called a cold lead, or someone you've never talked to and doesn't know you, and establishing some sort of rapport or identifying if they're open to an agent-client relationship. Now, one thing that I think a lot of realtors get wrong in this is when they call, they ask for the business before even providing anything. And this can immediately kill the deal because they know that you're just trying to take from them by providing information or providing value to them, and you immediately elicit sales reluctance. So remember, when you're prospecting, you're trying to find potential leads that you can convert in the future. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to convert, sell, buy, invest right now. Now, with cold calling, there obviously are some cons. A lot of people are very reluctant to taking calls to people that they don't know. But as long as you keep dialing, eventually you're going to get to someone that you can talk to, that you can provide value to. And the more that you do it, the more opportunities that you're going to provide for yourself. Now, how do you cold call? There's a lot of tools that you can use, whether that's Mojo, Vulcan 7, RedX. There's multiple different avenues that you can go, or you can just hand dial. All you got to do is open your phone, go to your contacts, and identify people that you know that you might not have talked to in a while, and just give them a call. That's not even technically cold calling, because it's a warm reach out, because they already know you, you already know them. Now, another fear of cold calling or just prospecting in general is the fear of other people thinking that you're too salesy or whatever the case is. Again, you do that by having genuine interest and genuine care for the people that you're talking to. So if you're reaching out to provide value, ask how they're doing, bring up something you might have seen on Facebook. Whatever the case is, the law of reciprocity states that they're gonna do the same for you. So you don't even have to bring yourself up when you ask them how they're doing, how their business is doing, how their family's doing. Whatever the case is, in most cases, they're going to do the same for you, which opens the opportunity to tell them about the business. All right, next, networking. This is one of the most underrated forms of prospecting, in my opinion, because a lot of people don't do it intentionally. Now, networking is just simply going to where a lot of people are and meeting them. It's as simple as that. Whether that's real estate events, whether that's business events, whether that's just common interests like a tennis club or a golf club, whatever the case is, going to those networking events where lots of people are opens up the opportunity to create conversations and establish relationships. But there are two polarizing approaches that most people do that cause them to fail when it comes to networking for business. Number one is they come off too strong. When it comes to this business, yes, your goal is ultimately to help someone sell, buy, or invest. However, you need to show genuine interest for your clients because people can tell when all you're looking for is a sale. And in my opinion, that's not the right way to do it. So again, you're gonna create sales reluctance and they're not gonna be willing to work with you. Number two is the opposite, and that is they go into the networking event with no goals or no intentions for asking for people's contact information, and then ultimately you just come up with nothing. So it has to be a balance. You have to go in there with the intention to establish relationships, establish connections, and know about other people. You simply do that by just asking them questions. Everyone likes to talk about themselves. So when you start to ask them questions about what they do they have a family? How did they get into what they do? Why did they get into that industry? You start showing genuine interest and it creates a relationship with that individual and ultimately provides the opportunity to stay connected, get their information, and again, follow up and provide value. Now remember, if you're in this industry, my belief is that you should be doing things with pure intentions and genuinely to help others. So that doesn't mean if you do get their contact information and they don't use you to make them feel bad or whatever the case is. There's plenty of business out there to continue moving forward and still have good relationships with people that you've networked with in the past. Number three is social media. This is one of the biggest tools that is a high leverage opportunity because when it comes to social media, it's continuously running in the background so people can see your profile and see what you're putting out there. And if you're providing the right value, they're gonna gain interest and can ultimately ask you for help. And instead of it being an outbound contact, it's an inbound contact via the DMs. So how do you use social media? Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the different platforms that allow you to provide value to your clients. Now, remember, this doesn't just mean property tours and this is, stuff like that. Yes, those do work. However, you have to remember that you're in a very saturated market. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're not really creating any interest in your potential leads. So you always want to be providing value to your clients that will make them want to work with you because they see that you're genuine in your intentions and that you're good at what you do. Next one is direct mail. Yeah, that's right. People are still using snail mail and people are still opening up their mail. And it's funny because there's actually a study that was done where they canvassed a subdivision and they asked them who is the top realtor in your area. And if they even had someone, it was random people and they didn't really have a consistent individual that they knew that they would go to in the case that they wanted to buy or sell. Then fast forward, during the study, they made up a realtor, made up a brokerage, and sent out direct mail consistently for a period of time. And then afterwards, they canvassed the subdivision again and asked them who is the top real estate person that you would go to. And an overwhelming majority mentioned this fake individual with a fake brokerage that they consistently saw in their mailbox. So that just goes to show that although snail mail is not the common way of communication nowadays, it is still effective and it can still work for you when it comes to prospecting. Number five, referrals. This is another opportunity in prospecting that can drastically improve your business through past business. And so your cost of acquisition for a client is cut in half because you acquired the first client and then they gave you a second, third, fourth, and so on and so forth. So it continues to compound the more that you sell and do. So that's why it's very important to keep that relationship with your clients and let them know, just because I helped you buy or sell doesn't mean that you're getting rid of me that easy. I'm here as a resource for you regardless. Now, how do you get referrals? Well, again, it's keeping up that relationship with those that you helped in the past. So if you're one of those who, once they close, they never hear from you again, likely they're gonna forget about you because most people live in their household for at least 7 years before they move again. And if you haven't reached out at any point in time, they're gonna forget about you and leave you behind. So stay in contact with your clients and it'll open the opportunity to either ask for referrals or you're just gonna be top of mind. So when someone needs help, you're the first one they go to. Number six, open houses. Now, for me personally, this is a way that I built my business in the very beginning by doing open houses every weekend consistently in the local area. What I found is there's a lot of people that go to open houses in that same area multiple weeks in a row. When they see you at a different house multiple times, you're getting established in their mind as a prominent realtor in the area. Not only this, but there's a lot of people that go to open houses because they don't have a realtor and that's the only only way that they can look at the house. So that's a perfect opportunity for you to establish a connection and be the resource for them when it comes to buying or selling a house. So now, I know that's a lot of different ways. And trust me, you don't have to do all of them to be successful. And you might prefer one over the other and just focus on that. And that's okay, because you want to know the great thing? There's been a real estate agent that has made millions off of each one of these prospecting opportunities. So find what works for you and stay consistent with it, because ultimately a lack of consistency is what kills businesses in the end. So that leads me into a few tips on how to be successful when it comes to prospecting. Number one, like I've already said, is consistency. The more that you do it, the more that you stay top of mind, and the more people that know you, and your business naturally grows from there. Number two, track your efforts, because that is not tracked cannot be measured. So by tracking how many contacts you have, how many times you've contacted that individual, and what has been said, and so on and so forth, will one, show you which prospecting that you're doing is working the best, and how to focus the efforts on what is working and building from there. Number three, and one of the most important things, and you'll hear this a lot, is the fortune is in the follow-up. And unfortunately, no pun intended, that is something that I've learned the hard way multiple times. Nothing feels worse than making the initial contact with an individual, whether that's cold call, door knocking, whatever the case is, and establishing contact with them only to find out later on that they went with someone else, and ultimately it's because you didn't follow up. So make sure that you're following up with the individuals that you make contact. Now, a reminder, when you're reaching out, you're doing it with pure intentions to provide value. Just because they're not wanting to buy or sell right then doesn't mean that they won't in the future. So that's why it's important to continue to follow up, whether that's quarterly, monthly, weekly, depending on the type of lead. Regardless, will establish you in their minds, so that way when the time does come, they'll come to you. And lastly, stay positive, because this job is not easy, and prospecting can be a beating, especially depending on what type of prospect that you're doing. But you have to be detached from the outcome and stay positive, and just know that even if you got 100 no's, but that next yes that you got was someone who is struggling or they needed help with the right real estate professional, and you can be that person, it'll make everything worth it. I promise you. So stay positive through all this, and it'll pay off eventually. All right, there you have it. Now remember, prospecting is the lifeblood of your business. So by using these strategies and staying consistent, you will see your business continue to grow. Now remember, as always, if you found this video helpful, leave a comment below, and subscribe so that way you can stay connected and continue to grow your business. Thanks for watching, and happy prospecting. God bless.